I'm very excited. So this is where we start, okay? Take us to the moment in time where everything just started shifting for you. Like the way that I think about it too is there's just a moment where like you look at reality so completely different than you've ever looked at reality before, and then the unfolding that happens after that.
Okay, so the moment that I realized we're not in Kansas anymore.
Yeah.
So I would say for me, I knew I was different when I was young. And I knew I was different because there were things I would say, and then I could see the person's fear or motivation or the way that they received it. And I stuffed it, right? I shut it off. I masked it. And I had this one moment it was fascinating. I was really hard on my body in my younger days. I'd go out and party and I wasn't really great on my body. I mean, you name it, I ingested it.
Yeah.
And not in a ceremonial way. And there was a moment where I started cleaning up my act and my life started to fall apart. And I had this experience. I've only shared this one other time on a live that just briefly was, have you seen Sixth Sense?
Yes.
With Bruce Willis. It's a M. Night movie. Okay. So I had that experience M. Night movie of Bruce Willis. No, just of me realizing I was not here. Oh, I wasn't alive anymore.
Take us to that spot.
So I was sitting in a therapist office. And so I was sitting in this therapist office and it was so fascinating. I was reading cards. I saw you read poker cards too. I read poker cards too. So the fascinating, we'll talk about that later. But anyway, I was reading cards in this rock shop and I had taken some days off work because I had got an herb from the health food store. And I took it recommended. In fact, I usually take half because I'm a sensitive, right? And so I got really violently ill from this herb that was just supposed to be like a detox herb.
Mm-hmm.
Well, after this detox herb and being on my D bed, and I don't mean Dallas or divorce, but I was becoming unalive. I went back to work and people are all, oh my gosh, did you do a fast or a cleanse? You look so great. You're glowing. And I'm going, no, I don't know what just happened. Well, I go and see this therapist, AKA energy worker, and she's talking to me. And as she's talking to me and just running me through this, I realize that I'm unalive, sitting in this chair and nobody else is alive around me. And it's a whole facade. Like this is a whole charade. This is a whole everything is pretend. I'm in this simulation. And I look at her and I go, you think this is funny? And I start getting really mean about it. I was like, this isn't funny. What? You don't want to hurt my feelings because we're all just sitting around here just thinking it's all pretend and you're just pretending because you don't want to hurt my feelings. And I went off for a moment and I totally was in that moment where Bruce Willis at the end of the movie realizes he's undead and he's like, what? And I asked her, I said, where's my family? Where's my kids? And when I said that, I went through a timeline kind of paradigm shift. So basically now hindsight is what I was doing was I poked my head through the veil.
Okay.
So I was in the office and I looked at her and I said, I am so sorry. I was rude and I was shouting at you, but I was unalive there for a minute. And she's like, yeah, part of you just did that, but you're here now. It's okay. And I was like, there's something else going on. So mind you, before I got on this spiritual path, I was not on any path.
Okay.
I went from 0 to 100 pretty much overnight.
And was that the moment, really? Was that when everything just
that
really
was
shifted?
The moment? No, that was the moment where I knew there was more.
Okay. When was the spiritual
But the moment
path?
that that's when it shifted. That's when the spiritual path said, hello, you're not in Kansas anymore. And I was like, oh, now what? So after that happened, I got really curious and I cursed the universe and whatever people would call maybe God or the great mystery or whatever. And I said, this is bullshit, shift, whatever. I said, this is bullshit. I don't about what's going on here. You better show me, and you better show me. Because, so mind you, my mother had died, and it was a tragic, I won't go into the details of that, but it was a tragic deal for me. It was unexpected. And it left me in some kind of way. And then it was like, I was so pissed. I was so pissed at this whole thing. And I had all of this happened at the same time. All this happened within weeks. So my mother passing and not weeks. This it was a whole kind of perfect storm, if you will.
Yeah.
So this is what made me angry and question, is because my mom had passed. I'm reading cards. I'm psychic, but I have no idea how I'm doing it. I don't have any spiritual tradition or anything that I'm following. I don't know anything. People are talking to me about crystals, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what that is. I learned from a very old school medium. Very old school, not new agey at all, not into crystals, hoopla. I walked into like a basement on the historic street, and there is this medium that's super old school, just smoking her cigarettes out in the front going, I'll be right with you. She was not into any of the new age mainstream hoopla. And so after my mother had died and I went through a divorce and these hard times, I was pissed and I was shouting to the universe, like, you better show me what's up or else. And I went into I was reading cards in a rock shop. And this is around the time when I was doing the festivals.
Okay.
Around the time when I met you. So I was peeking and I was flirting with consciousness. I call it flirting. I was flirting. I was like, okay, I peeked through the veil. There's something more, but what is it? And so after that instance with the woman at the therapist woman, I just said, I want to see more than anything else. And when I was reading in a rock shop cards, a native man came in and the spirits kind of poked me and said, this man knows what you want to see and where you're going. I ended up at a Lakota healing ceremony off grid.
Wow.
And 10 days later, I was so scared and my shadow was so turned inside out and I was facing all of my deepest fears that I was in the fetal position in the back of my car praying for death. That was my first step. My first prayer was, take me now. I'm done doing this. This is awful. It was crippling fear, crippling. I don't even know how to explain it. So I cried myself to sleep that night and I woke up, and when I woke up, I was one with everything. It was like going on a trip that I didn't come back from. So that's really the pivotal point. There were these precursors, right, that all happened in a few months or close to a year even. And then all of a sudden there was this tipping point. So Eckhart Tolle talks about that's what happened with him too.
That he saw everything for a moment.
Say that again.
You're okay. There's this spot in the middle there where I think what's really fascinating, so much of what I talk about a lot and what I've also experienced a lot is just that the process of like diving back into the shadow, and then the shadow just continues to like deepen and deepen and deepen and deepen and deepen. And the deeper you go, the more you recover. And so much for me, shadow work was simultaneously in conjunction with inner child healing. Like at some point it just became healing wounds from childhood that I hadn't processed, the things that I had to dissociate from that I didn't remember, all these kind of uncovering of things, right? And putting all of those pieces back together. And then the more that process happened, then the more shit just started to wake up inside of me, and the more connected and the more connected and the more connected I got. And so I'm curious if it's similar for you, where you've already got some connection, you're already doing some things, but then as you go deeper into the shadow and more of this stuff really starts to get challenging for you, then more stuff wakes up. Because that's kind of what it's sounding like.
So here's what it's shown me. What happened was I had all this inner child with hoopla coming from way back when up until that moment. Mm-hmm. When my mother passed is when it started to boil over. But I put a cap on it. So when I went to this native ceremony, everything exploded and I completely disassociated. So and disassociated meaning I was one with everything for about 2 or 3 years. I wasn't even human. I wasn't even this character anymore. And I was learning from healers, holy men, shamans, medicine people, the deepest kind of healing modalities. Only I was learning this so I could heal myself 10 years later. So starting in the end of 2020, all of the modalities that I had learned were flipped around. I basically, so you saw when like Jim Carrey and Russell Brand like completely went off the deep end and were like, I'm not even a character. I'm just in this little meat suit. And here I am. Okay. Yes. So that's how it was for me. It was this overcorrection, complete disassociation of even the character, to where a couple years later I did a trade with this woman, beautiful woman who did sacred contracts or spirit contracts. Okay. And I gave her a reading because I'm known as a seer, not a reader. Like when natives I go around these indigenous ways, I'm a seer. I can just see it. And whatever that is, there's no explanation. I can just see it. And she did sacred contracts. When she did my contract, she goes, interesting, you did this in reverse. It's almost like you blew up past the dissolution of the ego so that you have the stamina, the faith, and the power in you. Like I did it backwards so I could go back and heal the inner child, because the inner child wasn't going to heal because it didn't feel safe. So it took me doing it in reverse to get this bird's eye view to then go down and start to dissect it. And so she asked me, she said, when's the last time you saw Mandy? And I said, who? And she's like, yeah, you, right? When's the last time you saw you? And I was like, oh, it's been a minute, like a minute, maybe, I don't know, 5, maybe I was 5 or 6. No, I've seen myself. I was bewildered by the question of even asking me when's the last time I was in my character. And she said, well, what kind of music do you listen to? What kind of food do you like to eat? I was so out of body that I had lost track of my 5 senses. I didn't even know what I like to eat anymore. I had no preference. It was just straight, I was indifferent about everything. I was like, meh.
Wow.
Meh. I was walking through the grocery store. She said, your homework for you is to start to embody little Mandy so you can start to put yourself back together. And I was walking through the grocery store and there was some Method hand soap, like the hand soap that's Method brand. And I remembered that being in a salon when I was little, in my cousin's salon. And I smelled the hand soap, and the smell brought that disassociated one fragment back to me. And I started crying in the store, and I was just putting the soap in the cart, like just, I like this soap. Like, just to be human and to be embodied was so fucking rattling, because I had no character for years. I was still participating in the world, but people thought I was high all the time. They thought I was, I mean, I was blown out. I was. If that makes sense. So totally, yes, I hear you with the inner child work and the shadows, but the shadows were so laid upon me at the ceremony, it flipped me inside out. And it took me all those years to recover. And thank God I had these natives that were just running me through ceremony and teaching me these things, because the last ceremony that I sat was with my inner child. It was me doctoring myself from what I've learned, because I didn't trust anyone else to do it.
This is big. This is like a significant healing journey experience, obviously, right? This spiritual experience that you've been on. There's so much in there that I really want to talk about. One of the things that I like bringing up in this space, in order to just normalize the experience of not just the spiritual path or the spiritual journey, but literally just waking up and living, right? Just life itself is such a challenging thing. And I know along my path, as everything started to just unfold for me, I was constantly navigating the conversation around, am I crazy or am I not crazy? Am I crazy or am I not crazy? Almost my entire life, I battled with that, like trying to understand whether or not I was literally crazy in some capacity, right? Psychotic or bipolar, or just some form of mental illness, because of all the things that I was experiencing and all the things that I had gone through. And so I'm curious if you're having these same battles back and forth, and if so, what helped you kind of navigate those?
back and forth from spiritual psychoses. Is this what you're talking about?
Just the idea of like, like when you recognize that like the matrix exists in a sense, and you're seeing the avatar and you're recognizing all of the falseness of what quote unquote is reality, but then also still having to
Uh-huh.
like be in reality, and then having to
Mm-hmm.
navigate that and thinking that you're crazy. Maybe I'm not crazy. And maybe that's not your experience. I'm just fascinated by the journey of
Oh
it all.
no. So that's why I'm so grateful. There were people wanting to, my whole life, when I say my whole life turned inside out, the people fell out of my life so rapidly that there were people even trying to have, that were scared, that would leave my house screaming, crying, like something happened to me. Like maybe I had some kind of paranormal, I won't even go there with what could have been inhabiting me or something happened. Also, I had people trying to have interventions. Thank God that seriously, because I wasn't in a spiritual community, right? So there weren't people watching this healing journey. I went off grid with a bunch of natives for 10 days and came back and was completely, the veil was gone. I was watching artificial lights melt into people's auras. I was watching people's thoughts change other people's behavior unconsciously, even if that person didn't see that person looking at them. I could hear the sound of the trees communicating and their communication with us. Even when a sad person would walk past a tree, I could feel the tree giving its prana and loving itself better because we are made of the earth. I was seeing the things I've seen when I saw the Matrix for the first time. The higher ups, the HR department, are the ones that gave me the tour of the realms. This is so far out. It's so far out. The HR department gave me the tour of the realms. And the first time I saw the Matrix for real, I heard the Matrix theme song from the movie. You want to talk about coyote experiences? The universe has such a sense of humor with me. I heard the Matrix theme music and I started laughing. And the HR department, the higher realms, that I'm talking about beings that would bring you to your knees. This isn't like, oh my gosh, like, hey, Archangel. I joke sometimes and I'm like, Archangel Mikey, Archangel Mikey and the Legion. Or what's up, Gabe? People are like, what? I'm like, yeah, Gabriel, I'm my Archangel Gabriel, like whatever. But it really isn't a joke to me. It's just fascinating how people can go, oh my gosh, these angels. And I go, no, it's not these angels. You're on your knees because it's so fucking humbling, because the energy is so beyond an expression of magnificence that we can't even fathom in the human body to process the information when we experience them for real. And they scolded me. They said, you do not laugh at the Matrix. I started laughing and I was like, the Matrix is real? What? Your theme song? I'm all, And they told me, no, that's sacred too. That's sacred too. Don't be like that with any of creation. Do not mock any of creation. And I was like, oh, sorry. And I was like, you played the theme song. And they're all, I know, we're just kidding. So even when they scold, it's not punishment. That's what some people get mixed up with in religion, is punishment or sin or repentance. And I'm like, no. Sin is separation. That's all it is. Sin is for me, that's what it is. Show me. Sin is separation. It's our idea that we are separate. Repentance is turning back in towards oneness. That's all it means. That I've gone down the rabbit hole in every tradition, not every, that was bold, every tradition or religion or something like that, however that is. And so back and forth, just as you asked me through this, like even kind of psychosis or this spiritual blowout, is I still am doing the work, but I'm to the point where I've channeled so much that channel is now working tandem with me, and I work tandem with my higher self. It isn't that I'm holier than thou. It's going, no, I recognize my character and ego and I love it. It's integrated. People say, oh, my ego. And I said, no. I love that I get to be human. I could cry right now. It's the coolest experience.
Yeah, it's such a gift, isn't it?
It's so good. And if people knew that spiritual disassociation is the unhealed wounds you're talking about, it really is like inner child work is shadow work, inner child work. We're all the same age on the inside. Every age we've ever been is inside of us. So when we have a emotional or spiritual response where we're not embodied, but the thing is I don't even know that. bro. Like the more I see, the less I know. So even all of this that I'm talking about in 2 weeks, I'm going to go, just kidding. So back to the Matrix.
100%,
like this
right?
just unfolded. It's seriously one shift in perspective can change everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everything.
I'm like, I don't remember when it happened or at what point. Time disappears for me. I just lose track of it. I don't even really pay attention to it anymore. And so when I try to reflect back and think about like the linear path that's gotten me from point A to point B to where I'm at today, I have no idea what that is. But the idea of what the hell was I mentioning? I was talking about time.
Flew off the rails, folks. He flew off the rails.
I don't remember what I was talking about. That's so funny.
It'll come back around. No, just so here's a little creator pro tip. Just say it'll come back around, because then it does. When you go, oh, and this is for everybody in the chat listening. When you say, oh, I forgot, or oh, it's gone, or oh, I lost it, the universe goes, yes, you're right. But if you go, oh, it went, it'll come back around. The universe goes, yes, you're right.
I can feel it coming around the mountain right now.
It's just not time yet, then. It's just not time yet.
That's too funny.
Whatever time is.
Right? Yeah.
So I had a PTSD episode today. What was that?
Go ahead. Let's hear it.
Well, no, I was just saying it doesn't matter how I've been on the other side of the veil for years. I've operated with beings that are beyond my almost unfathomable, that my nervous system can't even handle and operate, that I have gone to the point where it's like Mickey Mouse and Fantasia and chaos is going around. And I'm just sitting here going, I have no idea what's going on. Everything's creation. People think they're such great manifestors. And I'm like, whoa, let's just calm ourselves. Okay. Your heart's beating and you aren't thinking about it. We're just going to keep the people in charge, the things in charge. But today, even being in body, I started crying, having, in 2020, I had an experience even after all of the spiritual work. Some people talk about spiritual bypassing. I don't believe in spiritual bypassing. I feel like you can think you spiritually bypass, and then you're going to have to go back and pay the escrow company.
Okay.
Because for me, I went to the upper realms of what some people would say, like bordering this enlightenment nirvana experience. In complete bliss. I was in ecstasy every day, I was shoved back in my body, and due to a medical procedure and some anesthesia. And I even had a chief tell me, people like you should not get anesthesia. And I said, I'll be all right. And it's just one of those things that I was here and then I got shoved back in my body. So today I had a first episode in a while, and it told me the reason why I've experienced this embodied experience, or CPTSD, and whatever diagnoses. I don't care. I give no shits about the diagnoses of what Western medicine does. But if you were going to call it something, that's what it was. But it's a very biological response. And I'll cry after that response and just go, I can't believe that's so intense and it's not even real. But we're meant to have these experiences. And so many people want to be in the ether, darling. They want to just be out in the nowhere. And I'm like, no, be now here, not in the nowhere. Be now here, right?
This, I don't know what is happening right now. I feel like I can't even formulate a question to ask you. Every time the question pops into my head and I go to speak it, it's like it dissolves and disappears. The thing that came around the mountain earlier, I was like, here it comes again. And I was about to grab it and then it disappeared again. This is bananas. I don't know what's happening. We're going to just experience this.
Darling, it's Cosmic Koyote. So it is. This is the paradox. This is seriously the world I live in. The world I live in is between those realms is where I live.
Here it is. I got the question.
If you wanted a suggestion, okay, good.
Okay, thank you so much for your patience. It just took a little bit longer than we thought it was going to get back around. what is your current working model of what all of this is about and what it is? And the reason I ask it from that lens is what your current working model is because I'm always like, I don't remember when it happened. Here we go back to the beginning of where it all started, as far as the point of where I
Uh-huh.
lost this conversation. Time, I let go of time. I don't know when this happened for me, right? But at some point along the way, I just recognized that like every belief that I have, every certainty that I have, I just had to let it go. So I'm constantly curious about just allowing everything to shift and change on a dime, like pivot immediately, where it's like, well, I believed this yesterday. I believed this for the past 36 years. I believed this for a really, really long time. And now I'm
Yeah.
just gone and it's completely different. And it's not to say I don't go back to beliefs. It's just this ever unfolding, constant allowance for how I think and believe all of this thing to be and or exist as can change
Uh-huh.
immediately. And it has
Yeah.
consistently over time. But I found that along the way, I have to grab a hold of chunks of it in order to what feels like helps me get to the next phase of it where it is dropped and then something else different is picked back up. So I have to hold on to something for a little bit in order to kind of work with it in the concept of, I don't know if it's evolution or growth. I don't really care. It's just what it feels like. And then when the new idea comes, then I let that go. And then I go down some other rabbit hole and suddenly my beliefs shift and change. And so what's your current working model of what the hell all of this is about and why, not necessarily why we're here, even though I think that's an important question for people to ask if they're here. But the reality is, I don't think that's really an important question at all. And I'm just more curious about like, what's the framework that you're basing everything off of while you're in the matrix, continuing to evolve spiritually outside of the matrix?
Okay. So there's a few things I'll say about
It
that.
took a while to get coming back around for that to drop back in. I was like, it keeps slipping by. But yes, go
Well,
ahead.
this is just a super easy answer. And anytime I'm talking and you have a question, jump in. There's a thing with cutting people off when we're in this kind of cosmic soup. I don't believe there's a cutting off. There's a stirring of the conversation.
Cool.
One is I don't live in the matrix. I don't know what that means. I was told that by the HR department. That's okay. You don't live there. And I don't know if that means, so here's the thing is the vision can be clear, but the interpretation is not. I've had enough visions and been enough places. I've watched the quantum realm tear open, tear without ingesting anything. I want everyone to know this. All of these experiences that I'm talking about is not ingesting anything. This is a very surreal, supernatural. This is the stuff I can't stress that enough. This is a experience that will break people's mind, which it did. Best thing that ever happened to me, but there's that. So one is about the matrix. I don't live there. So I operate quite well. Only other people around me think I'm a little nuts.
Okay.
Like I can walk in a bank and I can feel the entire. I'm kind of like, okay, Neo doesn't live in the matrix, but he participates.
Moves through the matrix.
Yes. So that's it. So I move through it. And so I think that's where the question is going, right? Is how do I move through it? Right?
Yes. That's a part of
Was
it.
that where you're
Very
at?
much
Oh,
so.
okay.
How do you move through the matrix?
So I just wanted to be clear on that is I don't live there, but I do participate in and around and through and with. Second thing is I live in a reality that if you go down this rabbit hole I've had people, I was on KGRA once, it's paranormal radio. And there were people calling in saying, who does she think she is to say these kind of things online? This isn't okay and safe. I've had other people tell me it's not okay and people aren't ready to hear. And I said, you know what? The people who are hearing can hear it. The people who can't. This is how Jesus spoke in parables. He spoke about spreading seeds. Peter was like, why don't you just tell us straight up what's going on, Jesus? Like, what's up, JC? Why don't you just tell them what's up? I know what's up and they aren't understanding your stories.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, some people have tended to their garden and this is fertile soil. So that's what I do is spread these seeds. So I live in a world and a reality where what is the construct? The construct is we are source energy experiencing ourselves subjectively through the illusion of separation. And why would we do that? Why would we stick ourselves in time? Because it's fun. Why wouldn't we? Why would we do that? It's eternal time. What would you do with eternal time? Be who you're not so you can be who you are. Becoming who you are, experiencing what you're not so you have it's a contraction. That's how birth happens. There's a contraction that happens. That's how birthing humans happens. That's how birthing seeds to a tree, to a seedling happens. You must go into the dark, into the world. But the moment we put words to Zen or Nirvana or enlightenment, it's not that it's been desecrated, it's been diluted. It's been diluted. It's ineffable. It's ineffable. There are no words. Je ne sais quoi. There's no words, right? So what is my kind of way, my little blueprint that I like to use while I'm here?
Yeah.
I run with natives. I'm on the Red Road. I listen to the natives that I run with have what they call the 7-page book. The 7-page book can understand the ins and outsides of everything. The Christians would call it the Bible. There was people that would call it the Upanishads, the Quran, the you know, there's so many names for these holy whatever.
Yeah.
In the native way, their tradition is oral tradition. They speak. They don't have things written down a lot. There are some amazing books out there now that come from really great sources. Black Elk Speaks is a good one. Black Elk Speaks. Somebody went on the reservation with an interpreter, and Black Elk would not tell the stories to just anybody. He would turn reporters away. He was a medicine man in that on Pine Ridge Reservation, right? And they went, and this guy showed up and he goes, oh, I've been waiting. I'll talk to him. I'll talk to him. But the thing is you got to read between the lines. What they don't tell you when you read the Upanishads or the Bhagavad Gita or the Bible or any of these things, you have to have a spiritual understanding that it's all written in code. Right?
Yeah, it's such metaphor, isn't it?
It is. And so the native way is the route I go. The 7-page book is the 7 directions. So I'm constantly learning the same teachings over and over and over and over and over again. I've heard the same creation stories, the same teachings. And the idea is you must be present to win. And so I tell people this, you must be present to win. When you sit in native teachings, you're hearing the same thing, only you're hearing it differently than you did the first time, because now you are where you are now. And so my construct is called the Red Road. It's the native way. I run around with natives.
I love that you bring that up, because I think that that's something that I experienced over and over. I mean, I experience it all the time. It's not something that I did. It's something that I continually experience, where I'll hear something that I've heard 1,000 times, and then suddenly I hear it in a different way where it clicks inside of me and it unlocks something completely huge that it's like, how did I not put this piece together again? And then 2 years later, oh my God, even a bigger thing happens, and I hear this same lesson over and over and over again. One of my favorite little metaphors is it's like one person's poison is another person's medicine. And I feel like sometimes the things that served me so much and had so much benefit to me eventually became like the toxic soup that I was swimming in that I had to let go of. But then when they come back around again, I've shifted, it's shifted. I don't know. There has been enough shifts sometimes where it's just that constant cycle. I think that's why we repeat patterns so much. Like the way that you talk about, we're just hearing these lessons over and over and over and over and over again, and seeing them reflected over and over and over and over again throughout all spiritual text and lessons and life and everything, right? Everybody's talking about the same thing, calling it different things, but it's all these same lessons that we just continually get to learn over and over and over again. And like I said, I think that's why we recreate patterns in our life over and over and over and over again. We're just recreating it's the whole thing of like as above, so below. I'm constantly reflecting on the things that I'm seeing play out, and these little interactions are just reflection of what's playing out in the bigger interaction of all things.
Which is quite habitual, darling.
Well, it's like you said, right? Without time, what would you do? Well, we're just going to do, if there's like 7 things
There's
that
not
I
a
got
lot
to
going on in
experience.
Nirvana. It's so boring. Yes.
What was, I think the 2020 component was really interesting, because I feel like obviously that was such a massive shift globally for so many different reasons, right? What was different for you after that, what happened, not necessarily like, yeah, that was just a big fucking shift for everybody. What happened for you during that time period?
Oh, buddy.
Because that's when I would say for me, everything cracked like wider open than I've ever experienced it before. And my life significantly would no longer look the same after that time period.
Oh, for sure. For me, 2020, so whatever was going on in 2020 that was affecting the masses had no effect on me whatsoever. Not in my home, not with finances, food, toilet paper, yeah, but I didn't stock up on that, but I didn't ever run out because I always have everything that I need. So any of that kind of stuff wasn't present in my life.
Yeah.
So what happened in 2020 for me, I'm still, so people like me, when I say people like me, I use that really loosely. We all come here for different reasons. And it's not even different reasons. I would say we have different characters, different archetypes. There's all these different archetypes. There's all these different characters. Not everybody is here to be a mystic. Not everybody is here to be a construction worker. Not everybody is here to be a saint. What is it your heart is calling you to do, and what is it that our mind wants us to do? So for me, people like me that would call me a mystic, or people have their own names for me. I don't call myself anything. There is said to be initiations. And these initiations are points in time where the seed cracks and you become an entirely different new character. So in 2020 is when I had that medical procedure. What happened was, before 2020, I had never experienced fear in my entire life. When I say I had never experienced fear, I told you I could see differently when I was a kid. Even when there were scary moments, I wasn't ever afraid. I wasn't ever intimidated. I wasn't ever taken back. That is also a form of disassociation when somebody is in a highly high stress, chaotic, however it was, okay? I even came in this life like this. So people like me, or even around the native way, would ask me how and where I was born and what the birthing process is. A native or a medicine person could look at me and go, oh, she's one of those.
Mm-hmm.
She's one of those. And one of those has different kind of initiation. So in 2020, I went in for that medical procedure. I never experienced fear in my entire life, never had anxiety. I had no compassion for it either. People would have anxiety and I'd go, what is your problem? You're soft.
Yeah.
Zero compassion. I had no idea what anxiety was. I had no idea what, I had witnessed PTSD from people that had been in combat, soldiers. So I knew that was real, but people just in everyday life, I'm like, come on. Like, I went home from the hospital in my mother's lap. We didn't even have car seat. I mean, I was swinging on the bars in the back of the first Forerunner on the interstate. Okay. Like, there was no fear embedded. In 2020, when I had that medical procedure, it was the end of 2020. I had 2 experiences that completely, again, turned me inside out. So this is 10 years after the first awakening, if you will. And I had a completely unfolding. So I got to go home for the second time. I've only been home twice. And I got to go home for the second time. And when I say home, I mean I got to go home for a minute.
Yeah.
I don't do it often. And some people say they want to go there. And I go, oh, you don't really want to go there because when you come back, you get homesick. And all of it seems pretty meaningless. It's better just not to go. Because then when you have to come back, you think to get this rotten end of the stick. But really, that isn't what it's about, right? This is a really beautiful life. So in this experience, they left a pocket of air in my jaw.
Mm.
So they put a graft up in my jaw and they packed a pocket of air. You're not supposed to have air in your body. You're not supposed to have air in your bloodstream. You're not supposed to have air in your bones and your joints and things like that. You're not supposed to. And when they did that, it created all the bells and whistles and the amygdala and my entire biochemistry and my bio network to be on high alert, alarms and bells and whistles every day, all day. And they couldn't find it. They didn't know what was wrong. They were telling me that something had gone off and I had this, they'd give me a script and say, this is what you have going on. And I said, no, I prayed about it. Something went wrong with that dental procedure. Something went wrong. And they wouldn't believe me. 9 months. I was completely unplugged from my source, from consciousness, from spirit. The only thing that saved me was a prayer instrument that I carry around Lakota tradition. There was no amount of feathers, medicine, peyote, aya, plants, any kind of song, chants, prayer, anything that could save me.
Did you try everything?
From being complete. So I tried what I could, and the rest of it I've sat with enough that I asked if it could help. So I don't go experimenting. I'm not an experimenter. I will ask the HR department and the GM, hey, is this? And it will say, nope. Is it this? I did try one thing and I thought I was going to die. Someone had to hold my hand. I'm careful about saying certain words on here, but I assume we're no longer, based on our conversation, we're no longer in the algorithm anyways. Whoever's in the room is in the room. It's like, hey, we're done circulating these guys. Okay, we're done. So, true story. I can feel the revolving door stop.
Yeah.
When the people are in the room or in the pocket. I'm just like, okay, cool. So, I did try a couple things and it told me, no, this is it. Like, you're going to have to be in this and you're going to have to figure it out on your own. I went to the reservation the couple days after this procedure and I went to a ceremony that was in, are you still there? You look paused.
No, I'm still here. Did I freeze? Yeah, I'm still here. I just had to adjust.
You froze.
Like, I'm all here.
Okay. When I'm talking about this, it's pretty nutty. So, yep, I went to the reservation and I went to a part of the reservation. Some people are like, oh yeah, I've been to the reservation. I'm like, what, the casino? Bought some jewelry from some natives on the side of the road. I'm not talking about that kind of reservation.
Yeah.
I went in the deepest parts of the reservation that were completely on lockdown because of 2020, the experience. And I went in a back way. And right when I came into the reservation, this is far out, right when I came into the reservation, these native kids that were met there with the person I called and said, I'm called to be at this certain ceremony. I had never been there. I didn't know anybody that was there. I did not know anything about who was running it. I had never met any of these people. There was one person that kind of ran the food and the camp for it that would go to another ceremony I went to. And I called them and I said, I'm going, give me the instructions. I'm only calling you to tell you I'm coming, not for an invitation. And I was the only white person that I saw. I was the only person that didn't speak the native language. I was the only woman in camp. It was not a safe place for me to be. I was completely out of my element. This is days after this procedure. I go to this ceremony where these native boys jump in my car. They have a screwdriver. They take my license plates off my car. They give them to me and go, you won't need these here. And they drive me back where there are wild horses. So it's by, I was camping right by the creek where they carried Crazy Horse's body.
Wow.
I sat in this ceremony and it was around the altar where I had ceremonial commitments at another ceremony. Now, that might not mean anything to anybody even listening, but the idea that we find ourselves in the same place when you were talking about repeating patterns, the same place. So you asked me what my tradition is or what my formula is for this is I'm going, hold on, I've been all over to these different neighboring ceremonies and I find myself in the deepest, darkest place with the most amount of abuse where there is no, like, there are wild horses and wild dogs ripping me off hides here. This is right in the backyard of one of the biggest known, like, massacres, okay? And here I am praying, and I walk past the altar, and it's the same altar out here in the Western white world of ceremonial ways. Not white world, but, you know. And it's the same altar. And then I drive home and I have the complete meltdown and my body and my entire nervous system shuts down. And I was like that for 9 months.
Wow.
And the only faith I had to get to the other side was that I knew that I was being driven. I had to have faith. I couldn't feel it anymore. There was no longer even a belief that any of it was real. I couldn't see. I was unplugged from creator, consciousness, source, energy, or it felt as though it was almost like being completely awake and then becoming completely unconscious, but then having a memory of being awake. So I had a memory that I know there's more, but I wasn't experiencing it in real time. I just came out of this 2 years ago. I did extensive work on vagus nerve and rehabilitation for myself. I was a psych major in college. I know how the brain works. I studied brain development, not just psychology. I studied brain development. And so I have brain hacked, mind hacked. I have that. And as soon as I got on the other side of it, it said, okay, now you're going to get ready to get on TikTok and social media and you're going to help the world because there's a lot of people experiencing what you just experienced. And now that you're back online, Cosmic Koyote, you're going to go ahead and you're going to help the people and you're going to just put yourself out there and tell everybody all your little dirty secrets. Just kidding, not dirty secrets, because it's not secret, it's sacred, right? But it's in this Cosmic Koyote way that I've had these experiences, and it called me out and said, come online. See, it gets distorted. Even just like when I say that, it's like, there is so much fucking distortion on here. To even speak a certain frequency, the moment I speak it is desecrated. But you know what? I don't give a shit because I've been raked over the coals of hell and it is sacred too. So anybody that tries to desecrate the sacred can know that that is part of it too.
Do you feel like
I've witnessed it? I've experienced it.
Do you feel like that was like a nervous system reset? Like, do you feel like your avatar just had to be reset?
Oh, absolutely. That's one perspective. The perspectives that I had enough time to go through in 9 months.
Right.
Absolutely insane. You want to talk about karmic unload and karmic debt being paid, or generational healing, or war, spiritual wars, or maybe somebody trying to get me, or superstition. It wrung me out of everything and anything I was holding on to. And it wasn't until I came out of that cycle that I was able to retrieve my 5-year-old self. I was 4 or 5 years old. And that is when the first major trauma happened in my life after birth. Was I was 4 or 5 years old. When I say major, there were other things happening, but there was something that happened. And it took all these initiations, and for me to be closer to 50 than 40, for me to go, you know what? Now I'm ready to integrate my little 4 or 5-year-old self. Now I'm ready because now I'm spiritually, the home has been made sacred. The nervous system has been reset. The energy has been moved. Everything that's not that innocent has been squeezed out. And so now I was able to retrieve that piece and to embody it. So I actually sat with a 90-year-old shaman. He'll be 92 this year. He used to sit with the one Joseph Campbell in his living room. When he was giving me teachings, he'd go, well, when I was sitting with Joe at Joe's house, and I go, who's this Joe guy you keep talking about? He goes, you know, Joseph Campbell. Do you know him? I'm like, dude, I just finished his book. Now, those of you that don't know Joseph Campbell, he's like the Alan Watts or Ram Dass, or like he is Maharaji. Like Joseph Campbell was one of the greats. Carl Jung or Jung or Jung or however you say it, you know?
Yeah.
He told me he was a neuroscientist gone shaman. This guy I sat with. And I don't mean sit with any kind of medicine. I'm talking about sitting with. I sat with him and received teachings. He was a neuroscientist. He gone mystic. He went shamanic because he went so far out and into the inner world of neuroscience that now he's mystic. And he told me that what happens when we become disassociated is we become disassociated so that our body can prepare it to receive the wisdom that that disassociated part is gathering from another paradigm. So there you go. Swallow that.
Okay. Hold on a second.
Or chew on that, whatever that is. Chew on that.
So what I just heard come out of your mouth was, because I've got so many copious amounts of time. Okay. Dissociation throughout life. Obviously lots during childhood trauma. Every time I'm leaving my body, in those moments, I'm connected back to consciousness and just absorbing and receiving so much information. And then fast forward into life, future casting. Now, as I'm healing and going back and collecting those inner child parts that need to be reintegrated into me and seen and loved and valued and held and just listened to and reminded, that once I reintegrate those parts back into me and back into the avatar, then I will receive the downloaded information that they received when they first dissociated in order to survive whatever it was that they were going through. Is that what you just said?
You're a pretty great interpreter. That was well said. Everyone receives it at the level they're at. I love that expression. How's that?
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, no, that's perfect.
And that makes so much sense to me because it, like, everything that you've been talking about for the last little bit, like since the 2020 part of all of this, it feels so, I feel like it's a path that a lot of us have taken. There was so much that took place for me after 2020 and into 2021. And then like legitimately life altering shifts and changes to where everything just went like, boom, world blows up, everything's got to change. And then everything just starts changing. But it comes with this massive reintegration of like 4-year-old me, really going back and being able to finally find that version of me that was lost into the ether, lost into the shadow because of what it had to dissociate from an experience. And then reintegrating. And
usually because of the nervous system.
Right? Yeah,
right?
It's just too much.
Yeah, so it's too much, yeah. I didn't mean to cut you off.
This. No,
it's just important that people know that. The reason why we disassociate is because it's not a mind brain deal, it's a nervous system deal, right? Yeah. So the nervous system can't handle that amount of in the body, but we're multidimensionally, we're multidimensional beings. And so if this avatar can't hold in the nervous system or is not equipped for the initiation, that part of the soul experience, darling, will go out in that other paradigm and they will collect the wisdom. And then when our body, our mind, our brain, our nervous system is prepared, it integrates the wisdom naturally. You don't have to go hunting for disassociated parts of ourselves or doing soul retrieval. You don't have to hunt for it. It will come back when you are prepared. That's why it can be so rattling if you go hunting for it, pulling it back before it's ready. It will come back to you when it's time. Maybe. I don't know. It could all be bullshit, bro. I don't know. But he explained that to me. And when he explained that to me, I was like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense, because there are times where I've had what people would call soul retrieval. I've had some far out experiences, man.
Right.
With that kind of thing where I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. And oh, here I am. I mean, it doesn't have to look like some high holy shamanic breathwork event. It doesn't have to look like that. It could be driving to the grocery store and someone waves to you and smiles on the corner. And there was a time when you were standing on the corner and maybe you missed the bus and then you felt ashamed. And that moment that the bus went and you felt ashamed or guilty that you missed the bus. And then your mom's going to say, singing this whole story, right? And you're just driving to the store and someone smiles and waves and you're like, oh, there you are. And in that moment, the body and mind is prepared and it can slip back in. But I don't understand any of that. But that's what he was just
I think that makes so
saying.
much sense too. So you said that like
I
you went
agree.
through this process, and process isn't even the right word, right? You had this experience, and then you said that you started coming out of it just about 2 years ago. Like, what did that look like when you start kind of coming out of what took place with all of that stuff around 2020, and then you start coming out of it, and now you're here on TikTok helping in the way that you're helping? Like, what was that process like, or that journey, or that experience like? Because it's one thing to like,
Right.
you know, like to finally
Okay,
start following
this
the
is really good.
guidance.
This is really good because I can feel this is going to resonate with some of the listeners. So listeners, just this is beautiful. This is where we start to get in the meat of it, right? It's when people can tune in, tap in, turn it on to the frequency that is in this pocket, and then their bodies are ready to receive the healing for them. And so I'm really grateful that we came to this point because I wonder why I was here. And I'm like, okay, I don't know why I'm here, because I can feel that pocket and that slot of where that deeper work happens. Does that make sense? I tell people I'm not here for entertainment purposes only. I am not here for entertainment purpose. We're burning daylight. I'm fucking here for the deep core drilling. Like seriously, like let's get after the underworld and tap into that deepest part of ourselves. Does that make sense?
Totally.
So what happened was, I'm going to share a short blippet on how it came to resolution. Okay. It's so fascinating that I'm going to just call it out because that's what I do. That's what Coyote does. That's what I do in my work, is call it out. Is I can feel the healing of things that people don't want to talk about because of the stories and the narrative that they have made agreements on, or beliefs about themselves and what it means about them, to receive the healing for the thing that they don't want people to know about them. So Ram Dass would tell people when they'd come to his retreat, they'd say, when you come to this retreat, he'd say, is there anything that you feel embarrassed or ashamed to tell me about yourself? And it's not that you have to tell me, it's that if you still feel that, then we're not ready to work together. See, because he was beyond the shame and guilt and the narratives of what we've done in our life. So I just want to give a shout out to everyone who's listening. Is like, the time to forgive yourself is now, even for those things that you think are unlovable, and those things that you think if people knew about you that they wouldn't love you. Though I can feel it in the chat. It's so fascinating to be in here with this many people, is I can feel it, and I would call it out more specifically, but they'd probably shut down this live if I did, because that is how deep it is.
It's such a key
I'm going to go
moment.
ahead and skip to that. Go ahead.
This point for me, what you're talking about, this moment of where it's like, finally, you just have all the unconditional fucking love for yourself, where you recognize that everything that you had been holding on to, as far as like, well, I'm going to love every part of me except this one part that doesn't deserve love. And if anybody found out about this part, then it would simply be the end for me, right? That's true banishment there. So I have to keep this part hidden. And finally, when that part got to be like seen and validated and loved, not just by me, like I loved that part to some extent, but I was still hiding that part and keeping that part very much like safe, I guess is one way to look at it. And then having that shift where it was like, okay, it doesn't matter. And the people that I love and the people that I thought would be like, that would be a deal breaker in a sense, or that would be the thing. Like, it just became so apparent to me that it didn't matter. Like, unconditional love is unconditional love. And we're all connected to it. We all stem from it. It's what we are. It's what this is. It's just the consistent thing that like all stuff is. And unconditional love doesn't judge, doesn't criticize. That it was a complete non-starter anymore. It's like it just disappeared. And when that disappeared, everything just went like hyperspeed turning on. Everything just went turned on so fast and hasn't stopped ever since then. Because I just realized that that fear that I was holding on to around that component or around that piece, it didn't matter. It just didn't matter. It just didn't matter. I could just love myself no matter what, because it's what we all were. So keep
Beautiful.
going.
Emit that energy all over TikTok. Emit it all over into the chat and be like, oh my gosh, that little dark part of yourself, like, I love you.
Yeah.
You know, I love that. I love your art, the way you articulate things too. Okay, so now that that's called out, I'll go ahead and go here. Here is what happened was so anybody who listens to or follows any of the content, they know I'm all about prayer.
Mm-hmm.
To me, there's meditation and there's prayer. I love prayer. I love talking to the unknown, the unseen, the great mystery. I had prayed for resolution, or I was going to make up some new plans. When I asked for resolution, there was something that told me to go to this university that is near my house to have them check me out. So long story short, these are the keynotes, okay? The keynotes are, I call a friend that can hold space for me, that isn't afraid of what's going on with me. This is a keynote. If there's something going in your life and you're doing shadow work, it is not your spouse's, your parents, your child's responsibility to hold space for you, because where we're intimately connected in those interpersonal relationships, it can be too much for their psyche to be able to hold space from a neutral perspective. It is imperative to have support and loving support, but to share all of the things that their psyche can't handle just perpetuates the not wellness. Does that make sense? So I had a friend that could hold space. I called her and I said, hey, I want to go to this university. And they, like most universities, have a hospital there. I went to this university and I said, I want to go to the university. And she goes, is everything okay? And I said, today I'm with it enough that I can communicate. So this is what my day looked like. My day for months consisted of me counting and breathing, counting like this. In, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. I seriously, good night, Mark. I seriously would, I don't know. It's so trippy when things like fall into place. So I was counting. There was a point where the vagus nerve I was able to communicate. And so we went to the hospital. When we went to the hospital, the chief of staff is telling me, and I walked in and I said, I want a scan of my brain. I want a CT. I want an EKG. I want this. And they go, what's wrong? And I go, nobody can find out what's wrong, but there's something going on. And there's something going on. I want you to find it today.
Yeah.
And I will pay cash today. Like, I was to the point where I was ready to liquidate everything that I ever owned to find resolution. So I go to the doctor, they do all the scans. They say, you are the healthiest 40-some-odd-year-old woman that we've ever seen that isn't medicated. Like, you are just, everything is amazing. This is just something going on. You probably have complex, this disorder. And I said, okay. And I started walking out of the hospital, and the nurse followed us out of the hospital into the lobby right before the parking garage. And she goes, this has nothing to do with the hospital, but I want to let you know that I overheard what you were talking about to the doctor. So you're not crazy. It was the dental work, and there's something going on with you. And there's this woman on Instagram and she sounds exactly like you. And this has nothing to do. And I can't believe I'm doing this right now, but you got to know that you're not crazy. Mm-hmm. See this woman on Instagram. I got to go. And she turned around and walked out. That's why I went to the university hospital.
Yeah. Right.
So that I could have validation that I knew. So I went into a dentist and I said, are you a man of faith? I don't care which faith you are. Thank you. I don't care what faith you are. Are you a man of faith? He said, yes. I said, well, then I'm going to need you to open up my mouth and not cut me open and see if you can see what's going on in there. And I don't know what's going on in there and you can't see it on your x-rays, but will you do that? And he said, yes. And he did. And right before he was ready to close me up and couldn't find anything, that instrument slipped into that pocket. He filled it full of he spun some of my blood in a centrifuge, put the platelets in there. And the moment he put the platelets in there, I came back online. And I started weeping and I was like, I can see God. I can see God. I can see God. Oh my God. I can feel myself. I'm back. I can see God. Like, I was just bawling.
Wow.
This is what had been going on. And he didn't see it. And it was a miracle. And I thought I was good and done. And then a few days later, I had my first PTSD episode. And I was like, what the? This isn't a thing. I couldn't be home alone for over a year. I couldn't hold car keys. I couldn't drive on the interstate for 2 years. And it wasn't because any of it was related to that. It's because anything that was too much nervous system stimulation, if it was too much sensory, if it was too fast, I would go into PTSD. And so today my nervous system got taxed. I stayed up too late. I didn't have enough sleep. However it is, I woke up and, got out into the world too prematurely. And it was the fascinating thing is someone looked at me and said, "What's wrong?" And as soon as they said that, it triggered it. The beautiful part now is that I have an anchor, not only in faith, but I tell my body all the time, I trust my body trusts me. I trust my body trusts me. And I was telling my body, everything is always okay, all right. Everything is okay, all right. Everything is always okay and all right. Everything is all right, everything. And so I've started to make these new neural pathways and create these new neural pathways. This is beyond creation. This is about experiencing. So there's people that talk about manifesting and creating out here and in their life outside themselves. How I tell people all the time, I'm like, get away from the spiritual, become spirit's head. How do you become spirited and embody yourself so much so that you can be so spirited that you are resonating at that frequency? And if something comes up, that you can hack your own mind, brain, and biology, because your biography becomes your biology. And I am not a victim of that circumstance, but it has created the strength that I have now to get on TikTok and talk about this and be able to tell people, no, you can do this. And it can be from any trauma, any background thing that happened that you have a story and narrative about, that you can hack your nervous system and your brain. They don't like us talking about this kind of stuff on here because it's not good for, business.
Yeah. So what led you up to this spot? First and foremost, this is incredible. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that we've been able to hang out.
I don't know why I explained that, but for somewhere in the chat, someone needed, I don't know, however 100%. That was. I'm like, okay, and that was something.
We also upload these to YouTube after the fact. So this isn't the only place that this is going to be heard. People are going to hear this.
Oh, beautiful. I'd like to put this on mine too, if that's all right.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll chat afterwards.
Okay.
If there's questions that you have, drop them in the chat now, please. We'll continue to talk and hang out, obviously, for a little bit, but I want to make sure that if there's people here that have questions for you, they can drop them in there and we'll try to get to those questions.
Oh, beautiful. Yes, I'd like that. And I have an early morning too, so I was asking you, I'm like, I don't know how long we're doing this for, but
yeah, let's hang out.
So
I'm good for a little bit more if you are.
Yeah. Because I was going to say we could do this for hours and hours and hours and it would just keep feeding itself. Because that's the thing is it opens at the close, right?
For sure. Yeah, I definitely want to have you come back on.
Beautiful.
But take me up to, because I know that you just recently started coming on this platform. So did I. I started this account in March and then started the whole live thing in May. And since I came on here in March, everything has just been so incredibly significantly different for me. And not just on here and on this platform, but it's been a progression leading me up to this point, into this point, into this point. And it just keeps unfolding and unfolding and unfolding and unfolding. And it's I'm constantly getting new, what it feels like for me is I don't know what's next unless I get into this space and create it. So I've created a space where I can get in and create. So now I'm just in a creative space all the time and living a creative life. And so now whatever happens to be the next creation that comes forth and through me, I'm like, I have no idea. I just got to show up and find out what it is, what it's going to be, right? So I have to be in the space in order to see the thing. But that's me. I'm curious about your experience. You said you just came on in March as well?
Yep.
How has it been? What drove you here? Yeah.
No, it seriously was now. So I got the call last year, late in the year, and I put out a few videos and I immediately took it down and was like, nope. I'm not ready for all that. There was a little bit of content that was thrown out last year. I've been collecting spiritual evolution 101 on every single platform when they came out. So YouTube came out, had Spiritual Evolution 101, the Book of Faces, the Gram of Instas, the Tube of Views, however it is, every single platform X, like it was get it. But I had no posting on it. And I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with that someday.
Yeah.
Who knows? Because I kind of thought maybe it would be hosting other people.
Yeah.
Like even hosting people like yourself. Like maybe I was just in the background. I was never the face of it. And then one day it said, no, here you go. Now it's time. And when it was time, I just didn't hesitate, because that channeling space you saw me earlier in the even service years where I was at is just, I've been along for the ride. The moment I woke up, I gave the wheel to Creator, and I just no questions asked. So how has it been? A whirlwind. This is a different portal that I've never worked in. I haven't ever worked online or within social media, or even I haven't ever owned a computer. I got my first iPad. I didn't even know, like my kids were helping me. My kids are, I mean, they're older now, but I've had younger kids even like, can you help me do this? Like, what do I push? Like, I don't even, I was the one that I tell the kids, they were very using email at the end of their school career. In high school, they'd say, you got an email. And I said, what do you mean I got an email? Mom, I set you up an email. I'm like, I don't know how to check the email. Send home a note. Tell them you need a note. Like I'm that gal.
Yeah.
And then being offline. So this has been a whole trip. I have learned so much about myself. I've learned the community is amazing. I want to give a shout out to the community.
That's the coolest part, right? I just love
it is so cool. There it is. And people they care about each other.
Yeah.
And it's just the work that's happening too, because now I'm offering sessions online and going through Zoom, and I finally put a link on my bio and stuff like that. And so I've been getting some sessions, and I'm going, this is incredible work happening virtually that it's mind blowing to me. And the thing is it's pretty fascinating. When I very first started coming on here was the year I closed my ceremonial commitment. So my ceremonial commitment lasted 7 years. I've been around the ceremonial list for 15 years, but I had a ceremony commitment for 7 years. When that commitment closed, this commitment opened.
Interesting. That's
and I'm like, I don't know what that is.
Like you have to let things go in order for new things to come in. We hold on to things so long, thinking that like, this is it. And almost often, like when you just set it down and you're like, oh, I'm letting that go, then the thing that was supposed to be the thing. Like I had a podcast at the beginning of the year that I was doing with a friend of mine, and I really enjoyed it, and it was going really well and everything was great. But then it got to the point where it was like, I continued to try to do this thing and it wasn't working anymore. And eventually I was like butting up against all this shadow, all this stuff, all these different things. And finally I just like was out mowing my lawn one day, and I asked, it was really simple. It was like, what do I want to do? And as soon as I asked the question, what I wanted to do, it became so clear. And immediately it was like, oh yeah, drop that, not wanting to do that anymore. And as soon as I dropped that, this just went and opened up in the way that it's opened up. Let's go to the chat. There was a great question from White Rabbit.
I saw a great question too. I saw it too about healing the inner child. Is that the one you saw?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. I saw it too. How do you heal the child within?
Let's do it.
You want to go first?
How do you heal the child within? This is my spiel that I give people all the time when I'm on lives. The part of the process that I think helps is, first and foremost, as soon as you have awareness of it, right? You're like, okay, I want to go towards this part of me. I want to heal the inner child. It's begun. So congratulations, it's begun. Like you're already on the path now. One really big key thing in the very beginning of the path is just stay open. Just look for the next step. Just realize that, oh, I made the decision and I'm heading in a direction. And now I just need to open up and relax and know that whatever is in front of me is what I'm going to need. So you have to get really good at being able to pay attention to what's in front of you and what you're seeing, okay? That's kind of like from a what's the next step kind of perspective. But from a different angle of it, it's the reintegration is what we've been talking about in some ways throughout this episode. It's the reintegration of all of these parts of yourself that had to dissociate and survive throughout your life. So the question is, how do I reintegrate the inner child, or how do I do inner child work? You got to go back to childhood and find those parts that were left. The way that I think about it and the way that I've really worked with it, it's the shadow. But it's not a negative thing. It's this protector part that's built into the avatar. So as the wounded child is the thing that happens, they dissociate and leave, but the avatar is still left there. The shadow comes in and grabs that part and collects it and keeps it safe, keeps it protected until you're safe enough in the current version that you are to be able to go back and collect that part and understand what that child went through, have compassion for that child, validate that child, love that child, pick that child up so that that child knows that they're never going to be left again. But the shadow protects that part until you're ready to go there. And the shadow's not going to let you into that space until you're ready, because its job is to protect the child. So then at some point, the shadow lets you in and you start to have this little dance back and forth with this little child, because they don't see you as safe. You have to do a lot of work on healing externally up here, like in the surface, so that when you go down into the deeper layers, you can show up in such a way where you're not activated and triggered by what that child has to share with you. So you have to be able to get to the spot where you're able to sit and hear what that child has to say and what they have to show you. Essentially, this great metaphor that I love, it came from a man that was like angel incarnate. He's such a beautiful soul. And he described relationship. He described, I think, in essence, just what can, this is a great example for everything, but it really applies to this inner child part, right? There's a small little bridge between you and your inner child. And when you cross that bridge over into their world, you have to leave all of your shit behind. You can't bring all of your judgments. You can't bring all of your stuff. You have to be so clear and present so that when you cross over that bridge, all you can do is listen and say, show me more, show me more. Grab their hand and just walk with them so that they can show you their world. But parts of their world are going to trigger the parts of you that are still on the other side of the bridge. That's why you got to leave them over there. You got to get really clear so that you can go for that walk, so that that child can show you what they had to dissociate from and survive. And it's not just the inner child, it's all of these little moments throughout our life where we had these things. So you just follow the breadcrumbs. The first memory that comes to you when you think about childhood, was it good or was it bad? It doesn't really matter what it is. You just go towards it. And then you just keep following and keep pulling back layers all along the way up until the point where you're safe enough to be entered into the space where you can then collect that inner child. And once you collect that inner child, like for me, it's my 4-year-old little boy, then it becomes such a life-shifting purpose. Like everything just becomes not necessarily protecting that part, but like that part will never get hurt again. That part is back within the safety of my heart. And now it's just there and nothing will ever get it anymore. And when I did that, everything just lit up and turned back on inside of me, because it's getting that part of me put back. So that's I don't know if that answers a question, but do you know what I mean? It's like the journey to get to the spot where you can reintegrate and heal the inner child. It can happen instantly. It doesn't have to be a long, drawn out process, but oftentimes it is, because there's so much resistance to it.
That's valuable information.
Okay, you go.
Well, as this was going on, I was just kind of keeping an eye on the chat and things like this. And I saw this, like, how do you do this if you don't remember your childhood? I have maybe 4 memories before I was 12. And so it's all connected, right? What you are talking about and what that question was, and how this is all one big, we're all having one conversation here, darling. There isn't anything that isn't part of the conversation.
We just all show up to talk to ourselves.
Yes. So wild. So in saying that, there's when you were talking about, I'm not even going to requote, I'm just going to go what comes through here. Is that one is, we don't have to go on witch hunts anymore. We're collectively, this is what it's shown me. It could all be bullshit. I don't know. Or chicken shift or cat shift. It could be whatever kind of shift you want. But what it told me is that we no longer have to go on witch hunts for which thing was it. We don't have to go back, because it all went back to Adam. and a snake and disappearing monkey or something. So about the which event happened. So people that don't have memories of the core of what happened is we heal in the now, forward and backward through time. So if you heal in the now, you're healing forward and backward through time. If you don't remember things from your childhood, that it could be a million reasons. It isn't because you're completely disassociated. Don't take that agreement. It's not because maybe you blocked it because it was so traumatizing. Don't take that agreement. It might be that it was so magical. You were so in the present moment that you didn't get attached to any of it. And you were just this enlightened child. Maybe it's that. Maybe you could make up stories about the narrative that you want to have about your childhood. And when anybody asks you about your childhood, make up some grand story about yourself. Why? Because we're all children. That's my full like blowout perspective. Okay. The second part is our beliefs become our biology. We don't have to go on these witch hunts anymore. It's helpful to have an event to go on, but typically the healing from now where we are as a collective consciousness is the healing is going to happen in the moment. So if you're stuck in traffic and you're having anger about the moment in the car and it's a gridlock and you're late for an appointment, you could look back and you could pull yourself from that. You could observe yourself being angry. Observe yourself. Go, I am not my anger. I am not my emotions. I'm not my thoughts. I'm going to observe myself. Wow, look how angry I am, all wadded up inside. And here I am in traffic and it's gridlock. What does this have to do with? Probably because I don't have control of the situation. Oh, I'm in this circumstance and I don't have any control. And so what am I going to do now that I don't have control over the situation? Well, what is the control of the situation? What do I want control of? Well, I really wanted to be on time. Well, everything's in divine order. So do I really believe that everything's in divine order? Well, where is this? Do you see how you could start right in the now moment and it's going to bring you into your healing, and that healing may be something that wasn't even in your lifetime, but in utero, because you were in your mother's belly when her egg was in her ovary, in her grandmother, in the grandmother, and the grandmothers and grandmothers. The 7 generations that we carry, when I was talking about being on the reservation, it is absolutely so profound. It is something incredible to see when they see a light-eyed, not because my skin is white and my hair is light. When they see a light-eyed, light-skinned person, there is a primal switch that goes on to them that thinks that I am a threat. Because that genocide was only 1 person ago when they started seeing people like this, and that happened to their ancestors. It is something biological that happens. This is in the animal kingdom. When you go in the tundra of Alaska or Russia and there are animals there that have never come in contact with human, they won't run from you. Hummingbirds will come right up and eat out of a spoon out of your hand because we have never terrorized hummingbirds. Okay. But a magpie won't. A magpie sees a human and a magpie will fly away because they have just had rocks thrown at them. And however it is, this is how humans are. This is how it is in our genetics. And so in our genetics, we are mind, body, spirit. So we are not our thoughts, but our brain function and our biology is the story through neural pathways that is a response in the nervous system. This is quantum entanglement. And this is also just us being this mind, body, spirit, like blob of whatever we are in this cosmic soup. Okay. So this is all going far out and I open lots of doors. If you've ever been on my live, I'll go, I'm multidimensional. Let's open all the doors, let all the air come through, and then we'll come back to 1. So coming back to 1 is the only moment is now. Healing your inner child is like trying to stop the wake of a ship. Okay. So you're in a ship and you're driving and you have a wake behind you and you're trying to stop the wake from where the ship was. But see, you are not the wake. You are in the ship. So you trying to take care of that wake back there is a ripple effect and an echo of an experience of where you were, not where you are now. But what you can do now is change the trajectory and look forward and create something new. And that wake will set out all on its own. But what happens is if someone continues to focus on the wake behind them and you're going forward in the ship, the wake will continue to wake. Life will continue to life itself. And if you continue to focus on the wake and that behind you, you will recreate it in the moment. So it isn't about forgiving and forgetting. It's about forgiving and not remembering. Don't remember it. When you remember it, when you think about it, now, am I saying that past life trauma or past inner child stuff isn't okay to go work on? Absolutely. When you were talking about the shadow, you don't go in by yourself. You find a good therapist or energy worker. You find not your friend, not your spouse, not your bestie. You want someone that's completely non-biased, that can see your shadow and see your eye and be your reflection. You can't see your own eye with your own eye when you do shadow work. Every great master psychologist or mystic that talk about going to the dark night of soul says, don't go alone.
You have to go together.
You go together, and it's a mirror, because see, with a mirror, I can shed light into dark places. If you are in the dark, I can take that mirror and reflect your light, my light, into the dark places. And the inner child, how you were saying, the shadow isn't scary. It's just a thing to protect the inner child. I love that. What it showed me before was that it's like on Tom and Jerry, when the little mouse would be behind the flashlight and it looks like this big thing. And he's like, brah. And Jerry would, and then Tom would kick the flashlight and it's a little bitty mouse. I'm like, that's what people's shadow is like.
100%.
It's like this big brah, but then you just shed light. Boom. It's like, oh, there you are. There you are. And then it can be integrated. So the idea is be here now, and then you're going to have something come up in your, most likely, if it's not one thing, it's your mother or someone close to you, your inner circle, your interpersonal relationships, and your intimate relationships. Because intimacy is like into me, I see. This isn't sexual. Intimacy is into me, I see. Your most intimate, close relationships that you're the most transparent with is where that work is going to show itself. That's where that little ping is going to come, and it's going to touch that nerve that has the little glass sliver that you've put a Band-Aid on and protected it for so long. And you just, every time it gets touched, you go, ow. And then sometimes it bleeds over into other relationships, see? But if you pull the Band-Aid off, that's what I do, rip Band-Aids off. I'm like, oh, sorry, that was more like gaffer's tape. Shit, how long's that been on there? I didn't mean to take a little skin with it. My bad. Because some people are so attached to their stories, right?
100%.
I tell people, I'm like, I had one of the most beautiful, magical, amazing, wonderful, supportive, scary, abusive, volatile, tragic childhoods I know. And any therapist would say that. They go, we can't even believe you're functioning.
Yeah.
And the thing is I've heard more. So it's like, we're not here with a badge of honor going, this is what I survived. This is what happened to me. It's like, no, it happened for you to show you who you're not so you can be who you are, but you can't as long as you're focusing on the wake of the ship. Right.
One of my favorite little metaphors that I got recently was, it's like you're walking backwards on the path and you're thinking about, like, you're so focused on looking behind you that backwards and you keep tripping and like falling down and getting hurt. And then you get back up and you keep walking backwards because you're like, damn it, I got to make sure that that doesn't happen again. But it keeps happening over and over again because you are in fact just walking backwards. So the trick is you have to learn to turn around and actually walk forwards. And it's scary at first because you've been looking backwards so long, and you think if you turn around and start walking forwards, then the thing that was back there that you're so afraid of happening again or getting you again, and if I don't keep my eyes on it, then it's going to get me again, right? That's why it keeps recreating. But when you finally turn around and you start walking forward, oh, turns out I don't trip as much. Turns out I can see where I'm going. Turns out I've actually been able to like get to where I want to go.
And turns out I learned the lesson and integrated and accepted that beautiful part of myself, full circle back to unconditional love. That one little thing.
Right? You've got to let something go in order for something to take shape.
Yes. I've got to find a phone charger. And I feel about what it, if there's more questions or what it looks like wrapping this up, shall we?
Yes. Yeah, Fig, I get that too. I feel as if I'm just standing still on that path. Sometimes you have to stop, right? You have to rest. You have to pause. You have to just be where you're at. If you feel like you're just standing still on your path right now, then just stand still. There's a reason for that. It's probably the moment in life for you, Fig, where you are actually choosing to now suddenly turn around and start walking forwards. But that's a scary moment to be in. So just slow down and be really present with where you're at in that spot.
And the integration.
Oh,
that's where integration happens. Yep, that's where integration happens, is in the stillness between the waves.
100%.
In my experience. I mean, I don't know. I might be wrong, but
right. This is all bullshit. Who knows?
It is.
It'll be different next week.
You know, you just got to do that. So the ego, I do that often and people go, why do you do that? This is really valuable. Why do you just kick the key right out as soon as you hand it to him. And I said, it's important to give our ego permission to be wrong and to stay in the wondering and stay curious, because we can't really be certain about anything. Thank you, love. Pardon me.
This was so much fun. Thank you so much. It feels like lots of love from the chat, everybody. Thank you so much. I'm really glad that we were able to have this conversation. I definitely want you to have you come back on. We need to do this again.
You know what? This was lovely, and I would be honored. And there was quite a bit of unwinding that I experienced happening. So when I'm in sessions with people or when I'm channeling, part of my gift or ability, if you will, is feeling things viscerally or in real time in my body and spirit, because we are connected. We are that Matakiase. We are that, you name it, Om Mani Padme Om. In that quantum entanglement, I can feel when I'm channeling real time where the kinks and the hose and where the static is. And I feel great. And when I was saying, I like to call this things out, it's like, this is valuable. I'd be totally down to do this again.
Cool.
And on my end of things too, and just to have these conversations, I feel like this is very valuable work, just to have these conversations and different perspectives too, not only male and female or masculine and feminine, but that is a whole other rabbit hole that we could go down as far as spiritually. Right. There's so many rabbit holes we could go down. I'm totally down. I've really enjoyed this, and I feel like this was of value to me. And I don't know, what does the chat think? Was this value?
It sure sounds like it. Sure sounds like everybody was enjoying it and benefiting from it and appreciating it. So I'm really, really grateful that we were able to get it done.
Yeah. And I, like I said, I enjoyed it, and I'm down with the appointment thing. I'm such in the flow state, but once a month or something like that, or every other week, or even an impromptu, you tell me, because the one thing with channeling is fascinating is when we get into a slot where the vibration is high and people are more in the present, there's less content because there's less static. Mm-hmm. It's closer to that state of stillness and nirvana. And so to have two people on here, to have you on here and two different point of views looking at the same fire, talking about from masculine, feminine, I don't know, what would you call yourself? I didn't ask, because there are people on here that I noticed that are maybe subscribers of yours that are in here, and there's some subscribers of mine that are in here. Not mine and yours, but I'm saying we both have people in this chat, right?
Yeah, the community that has been created in this space for me, it's called the BCC. It's the Blue Current Community. And they're just incredible people that have gravitated to whatever it is that I'm doing. And the cards for me, like that's a whole other, rabbit hole, but.
So you read poker cards?
Yeah, I read playing cards.
Do you read the full deck, or do you read the PK deck, the higher numbers and the face cards?
No, I read all these cards. This was all channeled information that I received from the guide, entity, thing, person, universal, whatever, that I've been connected to since the beginning of the year at the end of last year.
I don't trade very often, but I'd be willing to do a channeling, darling, for a card reading. So you feel about that. I'd be happy to trade a session if you're interested in a reading from my end or mine. Absolutely. If not, I'll catch you up in whatever your exchange is. I am a believer in reciprocity, especially in this world of energy exchanges.
I would love to hear it, because I think it's so similar. There's so many times when I'm reading cards, like it's been a journey for me to understand exactly what I'm doing on this platform and in this space, right? Coming on here, it's like, I have no idea what I'm doing here. I just started posting content that was essentially trying to share information about my experience and my journey and what's worked for me and what's helped me, right? It was really about, I'm in service to helping people on the path back towards unconditional love. And so whatever that looks like. And then I've been connected to Koi since the beginning of the year. And it was like trying to understand the relationship between me and Koi and what all of that looked like and felt like and what it was and how it was playing out. And then at one point, they gave me this download in regards to playing cards, because these are just regular playing cards. I've got an obsession with playing cards that's connected back into childhood and throughout my life in different key points. but never have I ever read them in a sense like I've been reading them. And it all came from this downloaded information that I got. And then it was like suddenly I understood what all the cards meant and what they represented. And then like 2 days later, I got on TikTok and just started going live reading cards. And it's been consistently growing and evolving into like I just learn more and more and more about them the more that I do it. So it's
That's
really, really
amazing.
fascinating. But there's times when I'm reading cards where the cards like disappear and we're not even talking about cards anymore. It's just this information that is coming and flowing through me
Right.
in regards to the person and the experience. And then it's like connected for all the people in the chat. And it's just like this channeled information in this moment about a lot of themes, I think, that we all experience and deal with, because a lot of stuff that comes up in the cards is the stuff that we've been talking about. It's the masculine, the feminine, it's the shadow, it's the light, it's the connection between spirit reality and physical reality or physical reality. And it's just really, really fascinating to me to kind of be a participant along the way, why it's taking shape and forming. It's just bananas. But I think
That's
there's like
awesome.
so many things that we could, because I would love to hear what you have to say about whatever this thing is over here that's happening. And I would love to share with whatever.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Whatever
I would love to, because I've only met one other. So I read the PK deck, which is playing cards.
I have no idea whatever the PK deck is.
So the PK deck goes back to like 15th century. So it's like when they were, setting fire to all the witch women in their tools and their instruments. So the PK deck began, so you can even, this is another unfolding from your playing cards, okay? So playing cards were used before the tarot for divination. When the church came in and started clearing out the free thinking minds, they said that those were the Dark Lord's instruments, right? The suits are the four, the wands, the swords, the cups, and the what's it from tarot. I don't read tarot. I don't either.
I have no idea what any of it means.
And then the high arcana or whatever are like the face cards.
Okay.
So the elements and the numbers are with the creation process. And so the numbers were made of 0 and 1s, right? So those cards go from 0 to 10, and then the face cards. So there's a creation process in there of all the states of creation through the 4 elements and the chariot so this was downloaded. This comes from a different source. Obviously, where you downloaded it from, it's been downloaded, but I've only met one other person that does it besides me, but I don't use the whole deck. I use 7, 8, 9, 10, and then all the face cards and aces. And it's called the PK deck. And it's PIQUET, and it was used back in 15th century. So what happened is after they burned all the things and said, that was the Dark Lord's work, darling, the church came in and said, well, we believe in this divination, make the tarot. And so they would use the tarot, and that was their divination because they weren't using the original because they had desecrated that. And so it's amazing that you're getting these downloads about it because there are some really old school people. So the one other person I knew who read passed away, and he's the one, and the medium that passed on too. Both of them are the ones. She said, I see you holding poker cards, playing cards. And he's the one that looked at me and said, you have the ability to do this. You read mine. And I took his deck and I knew how to read them. But I haven't read cards consistently. When that native picked me up in the rock shop, that's what I was doing, was reading PK deck.
Wow.
So I would love to hear your download, because it doesn't matter what divination tool we use, right?
Yeah.
It's when you're getting the information, but how intricate can the information go in? I tell people often when we're talking about pendulums or cards or tarot or playing cards, it's like this is not just an interface, but it's a reflection or intermediary to reflect the information that's being in the divination, which is freaking awesome. I've seen people through your content and people on your story and stuff talking about you being the real deal. And I'm like,
yeah, it's bananas to me because it's such a like interesting, like it literally, I just have no idea, right? The 6 of Hearts. Now I know what the 6 of Hearts is. I know what the Jack of Diamond is. I use all 52 cards, including the jokers, because the jokers are super important. Like earlier you were talking about, sometimes this was at the beginning of the episode, you were talking about that it feels like correction sometimes, right? But it's really this massive loving act, like this course correction or these like often. So this is Joker energy. I'll just explain Joker energy to you because that's what it reminded me of when you were describing it. Like the Joker drops and shows up in your life, and it's like it's showing up all the time, just telling you like, hey, you already know this. Like you already know the answer to this question. It's the thing that you don't want to look at. It's the thing that you don't want to address. It's the thing that you don't want to face. And you keep trying to bypass it and go past it. And the Joker shows up and says, sorry, you got to look at that thing. And you're like, well, I don't want to look at that thing. And the Joker's like, okay, that's fine. But next time you show up and ask, what should I look at? I'm going to point at that fucking thing. So you better just look at that thing. Like that's Joker energy. Oftentimes it just comes in with a lot of love because it's helping you on your path. But it does come with a little bit of like, damn it. Like, shit, fine, okay, whatever. The thing that you keep repeating over and over and over and over again, the Joker's just like, you don't have to do that. You can just look at this thing over here. And you're like, I don't want to look at it. And so you just keep repeating. And then the Joker just shows up and says, are you done? And you're like, not yet. Cool, I'll be here when you're done. And then when you're finally done, the Joker says, okay.
That was the funniest shit ever.
Yeah,
Did
that's
you know
Joker energy.
I did not hear anything what you said until you said, and that's the Joker energy. I did not hear anything you just said. That's why I was laughing. I didn't hear any of it, bro. None of it. I even put it in the chat. I'm like, I can't hear you. And I'm like, I can't hear you. And I'm like, that's the coyote too, right?
Yeah.
You can't make it up. Energy. The whole time I was like, you can't make this up. I can't effing hear you.
What is going on?
Oh, that's so fantastic.
Yeah, that's so funny. That's Joker energy right there. Oh,
it's so good. Well, that's coyote.
Right?
Well, when you say it's important, then you don't see it as a trickster or any kind of negativity. And that's how I am, is like people will say, you call yourself coyote, so what? You bullshit yourself through life. And I said, nah. This is paradox to get you to look at something in a paradoxical fashion. I don't know what you said about the Joker, but the Joker is that reflects the contrary that is sacred too. It is the fool. It is the clown. It is the heoka. It is the sacred contrary. The coyote says, the first time the coyote in the creation story said it out-tricked itself is the day it created humans. That the coyote was responsible for the creation of humans. It was showing off to the spider, the ectomni, who was riding on his back in one creation story. And it said, and the coyote said, well, look what I can do. After the cosmic spider made the whole web of connection, the coyote was showing off and made humans and out-tricked himself. That's funny shit. But you seriously, I couldn't hear anything that you just said.
That's bananas. Well, you know what a Joker is, so I don't. It's pointless
Me?
on you.
Joker, darling?
Right?
No. Yeah, that's so great. I'm so glad that was for everyone else. And then you got to see that, like, for your information only. People are like, I don't need to hear this right now. I don't need to hear this, darling. So funny. No, I seriously have enjoyed this, and I am so down. So I know that you do the Blue Room, first Friday?
So we do, the Deep Blue is Friday nights at 7 p.m. So we'll just have you come back on again. I'm trying to think. We've got a bunch booked this month. I'm on vacation next week, but we'll definitely connect and have you come back because this has just been so much fun. And we can
and I'd like to have you on the other end too, on my side of things, and however it is. And I don't know what that looks like. So I'm totally down. And for those of you that are in this chat, what do you go by?
Blue Flower.
Blue Flower. Okay. So those of you that don't know, I'm Kosmic Koyote, Spiritual Evolution 101. Yes. I'm a channeler. So I'm a channeler like Abraham Hicks or like the raw material or Chiron or Bashar. It's similar. I become an interface to get my voice to spirit. I've been channeling for well over 15 years consciously. Before you saw, I think it's such a trip how this is like full circle, but
it's bananas.
It's such a trip. Channeling is basically me attuning the frequency or becoming an interfacer radio to be a transmitter for the information that's coming from the Great Mystery. So when I start channeling or even talking about it like this, I'll start to talk fast. My mannerisms change. People that are on here that came over from the Coyote page saw a different side of Mandy that they haven't ever seen on my lives, because I don't have conversations like this. This was much more grounded than when I'm flying off the chains channeling. And so,
we need to
those
just
of
get
you
on
check
here and
out.
channel together. Because when I tap into
Those of
Koi
you
and
check it
start
out.
flowing, it's just bananas.
It is. So Spiritual Evolution 101, Cosmic Koyote with a K. K Cosmic, K Coyote. And the reason why, because the C was taken. There's no encryption about it. It's just because the C was taken. And then those of you that are over here from Cosmic Koyote, check out Blue Flower here where we're at. And share the love in whatever movement we're doing in this community, because it's not mine and yours, right? It's the content.
Yeah, what we should do. Let's do this next time. And whether we do it on yours, we do it over here on the Deep Blue, I don't care. But let's start off next time, and we'll essentially, like, I'll read cards for you. I'll go in and channel and read cards and see what comes up for you in cards and everything like that.
I don't want anyone to see my session, bro. We're getting on Zoom.
Okay.
But go on. What's your idea?
Well, that was the thought, was like, I'll channel for you and then you channel for me and whatever comes through.
Oh, no. I'm not trying. No, not only that, but not on this platform, because those portals that open when stuff like that happens, and I don't mean to be like the level I'm working on, darling, because I'm so high and so up here and holier than thou. But no, for real, I don't just open these doors. This is not for entertainment purposes only for me. So when it comes to that, I love that you do that online. And for me, absolutely not for me. I'll be like, okay, this is going to be a closed container. And that's just how it's going to be. And part of it is not an overcorrection, but there I am tattletelling on myself. It's totally overcorrection from the disassociated part. We've been talking about this whole entire time. That inner child of me that I'm tapping the deepest cores of my heart and spirit is, I require a safe container in order to see those parts of myself and those reflection, because there are times when my heart has been so open and I have been so one with everything. The other day, this is the trippiest still. I made a piece of content. I legit took it down after I just made sure it was uploaded and 7 people had seen it. And this is no joke. I was so innocent in this post. It was just a 15-second post. It was so innocent. I felt so good about it. I was in such a high place in truth and love. And I just said, and I made this gesture. And when I went back and watched it, it had already been desecrated energetically. I could feel it was made derogatory. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I deleted it. And I was like, that really sucks. It really sucks that I want to give my love and heart and the beauty and the reflection back to people, and it can be desecrated just like that because someone else has shame and guilt over that, and so it flips into their shadow. And I'm like, I'll be a reflection for a shadow for you up to a point, and then after that you can go yourself, because I'll pull the Band-Aid off, but you get to go look at that, because that thing that is not you is the thing that I want to shed light upon.
Right.
And so I'm very straightforward with that. I'm like, I serve God. I don't serve your nonsense. I won't nurse and breastfeed toxicity. Not on here, not anywhere in my life. And I'm one of those people that can go from making jokes about something that went talking about the reservation and desecration and generational genocides, like just like that. And that's the coyote, is to make a joke about it all. And then at the same time, like that innocence is what we're working
on, right? It is the great.
It is.
It's the big play that we're all just playing. It's just this big, wonderful little playroom where we get to create whatever it is that we want to create and experiment and explore and have all of these beautiful, wonderful experiences, and then rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So how can we not laugh at it? If you hold on to it too tight, then that's when it becomes this thing that's like, because you're holding it too tight. Let it go. Let it go.
It is. It's so funny. And there are times that I get on here and I'm like, oh no, I will reflect. And then after that, you have to pay me, make an appointment. You don't get my services for free anymore.
Well, thank you so much.
God.
This has been wonderful. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you go following Cosmic Koyote. Make all that stuff that's going to be down in the show notes too. So if you're watching this later on and you didn't catch it live, it's all down there. And then I'm excited to do this again. Thank you.
Thank you. And we will talk on the flip side.
Cool. I got to figure out how to end this thing now. I don't ever use my phone.